Hey, you like public scandals involving prostitutes and/or rich kids? Today's story has both of them, and a lot more. Albert Jackson Tirrell was the son of a wealthy family in Weymouth, Massachusetts. He was married and living with his wife and two children. One day, Albert was walking down the street and he sees this woman, and he's like, "Hey, you wanna have the sex?" And she's like, "Haha, yeah." He was known to be unfaithful, and in 1845 he left his wife to be with this exact lady. That woman's name was Maria Bickford. Maria was also married and also in her early 20s. Oh yeah, and she was a prostitute living in a brothel in Boston. Albert fell in love with her, and not much later, she also fell in love with him. Now, keep in mind that this kind of stuff was not taken lightly in the 1840s. After the Revolution, Americans understood adultery as a sin against God and a crime against the people, a betrayal of marriage vows. Adultery was a cause for divorce in most states, as well as a basis for civil suits. Now, to add insult to the injury, this happened between a member of a known family and a prostitute, which turned into a big scandal. A big public scandal. So Albert and Maria became true companions, and they started living together as husband and wife. They were constantly together, and they started traveling to different places. One time, on a trip to a neighboring town, some random guy recognized them. "God, I hate you rich pricks. I could kill you right now, and I won't even go to jail, 'cause it's full, 'cause the jail's like my brain. Just one cell." This event prompted Albert and Maria to present themselves as someone else and use different names while traveling. So they're doing all of these things together, traveling, dancing under the moon, and other romantic things. They're clearly in love with each other. And get this, she never quit a job. She never quit her job as a prostitute at the brothel. Now what's even more interesting, Albert was totally okay with it. I'm just kidding, he was not. On the night of October 27, 1845, loud noises were heard from Maria's brothel room. Soon after that, the brothel owner awoke to the smell of smoke, and he was like, "Ugh, my horses." He went to discover that somebody had set 3 fires in the brothel. After putting out the flames, he entered Maria's room and discovered that she's been brutally murdered, savagely beaten, and with her throat slit from ear to ear with a razor cut deep enough to nearly cut her head off. I imagine you already have an idea who might have done such a horrible thing. Suspicion immediately fell on Albert. Albert was the last person to be seen with Maria, according to multiple witnesses who saw him go to her room that evening after her last customer had left. A bloody razor was found near the body, along with pieces of Albert's clothes and the broken off sections of a distinctive cane, known to belong to him. Police immediately began a search for Albert, but he had already ran away, having last been spotted bargaining with a stable keeper, reportedly saying that he was in a scrape and needed to get away. Albert was eventually tracked down to New Orleans, where he was arrested on December 6, 1845, and he was brought back to Massachusetts. The rich kid murder scandal quickly became a local and national sensation that had everything. There was adultery, the class divide briefly bridged between a scion of a wealthy and respectable family who abandoned his wife and children for a prostitute, capped off with a gruesome murder, nationwide manhunt, arrest, and trial. So Albert's parents, Mommy and Daddy, hired Rufus Choate, a former U.S. Senator and respected Boston lawyer known for his creative defense strategies. So trial starts, and the judge something like, "Hey, did you kill that prostitute?" "No, man, come on, I wouldn't kill a prostitute." "Hey, you think this is a game? You think you're above the law because your family has $7? All indications point that you killed her. You were the last person seen with her. We found your stuff near her body. A guy that lives with horses told us you literally had blood on your hands. Now, what do you have to say?" I was sleepwalking?" "Yeah, that checks out." So they set him free. And I'm not making this up. This is really what happened. Let me explain. At Albert's trial, prosecutors called in numerous witnesses who established strong circumstantial evidence that the rich kid was the murderer. The defendant's lawyer, emphasizing that the evidence was circumstantial and that nobody had seen Albert actually murder the victim, built his case on what was an innovative defense back then: sleepwalking. The lawyer argued that Albert was a chronic sleepwalker, and if he did kill Maria, he must have done so while in a somnambulistic state. As such, he would have been unaware of his actions and so could not be held legally responsible. Defense witnesses testified that they had spoken with Albert in the morning of the murder, and that he seemed to have been in a trance, sounding weird and appearing in a strange state as if asleep or crazy. One witness testified that he had spoken with Albert when he arrived in his hometown of Weymouth, and when the witness told Albert that Maria had been brutally murdered, Albert seemed genuinely shocked. But that's not all. The lawyer also attacked Maria and her character. He was like, "Hey judge, listen, this prostitute seduced my boy with her charms and made him leave his kids and wife. If that happened a couple hundred years ago, I'd say she's a witch. Plus, hookers kill themselves all the time. It's obvious she killed herself. Now, I'm not saying it's a good thing that she did it. All I'm saying is that nobody cares." The lawyer's argument resonated with the jurors' culture back in the time, so it didn't take long time to convince them that Maria was as guilty as Albert. So the jury gave out a not guilty verdict on grounds that Albert was unaware of his actions at the time of the killing and was thus not legally responsible. In the years after Albert's trial, many people tried the sleepwalking defense, at least in the United States. Ironically, however, it now seems that America's first successful sleepwalking defense was probably a sham. While people in a somnambulistic state are capable of complex actions, Albert's failed attempts at setting fire to the brothel after the murder demonstrates that he tried to destroy evidence of his crime and cover his tracks. Such actions indicate that he was well aware of his actions and their consequences. Sleepwalkers do not try to destroy evidence of their crimes while sleepwalking. Albert was probably guilty of the murder of Maria and almost certainly guilty of the attempted arson of the brothel that could have probably killed some of the people inside. And that, my lovely guys and gals, concludes our story. And I guess we can all learn something from it. If you have enough money, you can probably kill a prostitute and you will probably get away with it, but you probably shouldn't do it.